All right. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be diving into something I bet a lot of you are thinking about a lot lately.
Okay.
Designing a truly awesome website for your consulting firm.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you are just starting out or you've already been at it for a while,
Yeah.
we're going to be pulling some really smart strategies from a recent article
Oh, cool.
in Site Design NW. It's called Essential Features for a High-Impact Consulting Firm Website Design.
I love that.
Yes.
And what I find so interesting about this article is that it goes kind of beyond just like the nuts and bolts of web design, and it really gets into like the psychology of how potential clients are perceiving your firm when they're like checking you out online.
It's so true. And I feel like that's kind of what we're all about here, right?
Yeah,
Understanding the why behind why does this actually work? So first off,
Sure.
this article really stresses the importance of how you describe like the services you offer.
Right.
It might seem obvious, but how many times have you landed on a website and you're like, what do these people even do? I have no idea.
All the time. And it happens more than you think. And especially in like the consulting world, right? Where your main thing you're selling is your expertise.
Yeah.
Clarity is like the most important thing.
It's everything.
Yeah. So think of your service offerings as your elevator pitch. You got to really grab their attention right away and make sure that they understand exactly like what problems you can solve and the value that you bring.
Mm-hmm.
And the article suggests ditching all that jargon. And really speaking directly to your ideal client.
That's where I think a lot of consultants get tripped up. We're so used to talking in industry terms.
Yeah.
We forget how it sounds to someone who's not on our little bubble.
Yeah.
So imagine you're explaining your services to someone who's like never even heard of your field before.
Okay.
How would you make it like super clear and really compelling? That's such a great question, and that's a great test. And then the article goes on to talk about like the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically using case studies.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say like, oh yeah, I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah.
But it's another thing entirely to show potential clients how you've tackled similar challenges and then gotten like real tangible results.
I am such a sucker for a good story, and I think everyone is.
Me too.
And case studies are like
I know.
these little mini dramas that just pull you in.
Totally.
You've got the setup, you've got the conflict,
Yeah.
the resolution, and then bam, the amazing outcome that you helped create.
Exactly.
I remember there was this one example in the article about a marketing firm that used these like really cool charts
Oh, nice.
to visually demonstrate how they'd help this local bakery increase their online sales.
Oh, wow.
The impact was just undeniable.
Totally. Visuals are key.
Yeah, because it's not just about like dry facts and figures. It's about painting a picture of that success that will resonate with your potential clients emotionally.
Yeah.
And that, of course, it all comes down to building trust,
Yeah.
which is like the foundation of any successful consulting relationship.
Absolutely. And that leads us perfectly into the next point, client testimonial.
Yes.
Which is like social proof on steroids.
Right.
I mean, we all do it right. We read reviews before we buy anything online.
All the time.
It's just human nature.
Oh, yeah.
To want that reassurance that other people have had like a positive experience.
Yeah.
The article stresses authenticity here, like real names, company logos, if you can get them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it has to feel genuine. You can't fake that kind of credibility.
I find it so fascinating how much weight we give to online reviews now.
It's true.
It's like a currency of trust in the digital world.
It really is.
And the article makes a really good point about showcasing a variety of testimonials that highlight different aspects of your services, because then it paints like a more complete picture of what you can do.
Yes.
And it helps build confidence in those potential clients.
Okay, so you've got your services clearly explained. You've got the compelling case studies.
Yep.
You've got those glowing testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
What is next?
Well, the article says it's time to pull back the curtain and introduce the people behind the brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Humanize your firm.
Yeah.
Make it relatable.
Yes.
Because potential clients want to know who they're going to be working with.
Yeah.
And that means showing off your team members with some really great bios that go beyond just listing, their credentials.
Yeah.
Let some personality shine through.
I love this because it gives you permission to be yourself.
Exactly.
Even if that means showing a little bit of like quirkiness.
Totally.
I remember the article mentioned this one consultant whose bio included a fun fact about her love for competitive baking.
Oh, that's fun.
It was so memorable, and it just made her seem so much more approachable. Yeah.
Which I think is really valuable in like the consulting world.
Absolutely.
You want to come across as professional, but also like someone you could actually enjoy working with.
Exactly. That's such a great example, and it really speaks to the power of those little details.
Yes.
You know, those little touches can make a huge difference in making that connection with a potential client.
So true.
So think about this. You've grabbed their attention, you've shown them what you can do, you built trust through testimonials, introduced your awesome team.
Yeah.
What's the next logical step? They want to talk to you.
Right.
So let's make that super easy for them.
Exactly. And the article is very clear on this.
Yes.
Simplify online consultation requests.
Yes. Don't make them hunt for your contact info or like navigate this crazy clunky form.
Right.
Make it so easy for them to reach out, a clear call to action, a user-friendly contact form, maybe even an option to just like schedule a meeting directly.
Yeah.
The point is, you've got them hooked. Don't lose them right at the finish line. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground already, and it's all super relevant to you and your website.
Yeah.
But before we move on, there's one more thing from this article I just want to point out because I think it's worth highlighting.
Oh, okay. What's that?
You're referring to the fact that this article is from an Australian company, right?
Yes. And while obviously like the core principles of good web design are like universal,
Yeah.
it got me thinking about how like cultural differences and like regional standards might come into play.
Absolutely.
You know, something as simple as just like color choices or imagery
Yes.
can have totally different meanings in different parts of the world.
It's true. So while we're going to keep unpacking these insights from the article,
Okay.
it's important to keep this like regional lens in mind.
Yeah.
Because you want a website that's not just beautiful and functional,
Right.
but also culturally sensitive and appropriate for your specific target audience.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect way to transition to our next segment where we've laid the foundation with all these essential features.
Okay.
And now it's time to like dive deeper into the design principles that bring it all together.
Perfect. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Let's go. It's amazing how much, cultural stuff can really affect something as simple as web design.
Oh, totally.
Like certain colors might be like really symbolic in one culture, but mean something totally different in another.
Right. That's why it's so important to know like who you're talking to
Yeah.
and what really speaks to them visually. But, beyond those cultural things, there are some basic design principles that apply to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The article mentions creating a seamless user experience,
Yes.
which I think we can all relate to. I mean,
Quite.
we've all been on those websites that are just clunky and confusing,
Oh my gosh.
hard to navigate.
The worst.
And in the consulting world especially, where you're trying to project that image of competence and professionalism,
Yeah.
a bad website can really hurt you.
Totally.
You want your website to guide people
Yeah.
through the information they need and ultimately lead them to that point of contact.
Exact. Like, think of it like, you're creating a clear path through this beautiful garden.
Oh, I love that.
You want people to enjoy the journey and get to the end feeling good and informed.
And it brings up the importance of visual hierarchy,
Yes.
which the article talks about.
Yeah, it might sound technical, but it's really just like guiding the eye and prioritizing information.
Right.
So they see the important stuff first.
Exactly. Like when you read a newspaper, you're drawn to like the headlines and the big text and the images.
Yep, same thing on a website. Yep.
Right.
You can use headings, font sizes, color contrasts. Even white space can make a huge difference in how people see and engage with your content.
So it's not just about how it looks.
Right.
It's about making the information easy to understand.
Exactly.
And directing their attention to where you want it to go.
Yep.
Speaking of how things look, the article also talks about branding.
Okay.
And how your website's design should really reflect your firm's personality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your website is like an extension of your brand.
Yes.
It needs to give off the same vibe, expertise, and tone that you have in all your other materials.
Mm-hmm.
So think about the feelings you want potential clients to have.
Okay.
Are you like formal and corporate? Are you creative and edgy?
Yeah.
Are you warm and approachable? All those design choices, like your colors, fonts, images,
Yeah.
it should all work together to create that cohesive and authentic brand experience.
It's like creating this visual identity that instantly tells people who you are.
Exactly.
And what you're all about.
Yeah.
And a crowded market like that is so crucial.
Absolutely.
But let's be real, creating a beautiful website is only half the battle these days.
Oh, yeah. What's the other half?
You got to make sure everyone can actually see it.
You're talking about mobile responsiveness.
Yes.
You're so right. It's not enough to just have a desktop version anymore.
Yeah.
With everyone on their phones and tablets. Your site needs to, adapt to all those different screen sizes.
Yeah. It's like having a shape-shifting website.
I love that.
And it's not just about making things smaller. It's about really thinking about the layout, the navigation.
Yeah.
Even the content itself to make it work on mobile.
Totally.
You need bigger buttons, easier menus, concise text. It all adds up to a better experience on those smaller screens.
I mean, think about it yourself.
Yeah.
How many times do you leave a website if it's just impossible to use on your phone?
All the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the same goes for potential clients. If your site's not mobile friendly, they're gone.
It just highlights the importance of investing in a website that's built with mobile in mind from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of technical and design stuff, but I want to bring it back to what matters most. The human element.
Yeah.
This article really reminds us that a website isn't just code and pixels.
Right.
It's a way to connect with people and build relationships.
Exactly. And all these design things we've talked about, from clear services to user experience to mobile responsiveness, all of it contributes to that bigger goal.
Yes.
You want a website that shows off what you know, but also builds trust, builds rapport, makes people feel good about choosing you.
So it's about that combination of the tech stuff with really knowing your audience and creating a good experience for them.
Absolutely.
And I know we've given you a lot of information today.
It's a lot.
And it can feel kind of overwhelming to think about doing all of it.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to break it down into smaller steps
and
focus on what will make the biggest difference for you.
Totally. And that brings us to our final thought for today's deep dive.
Okay, what is it? We've talked about so much in this deep dive into designing those killer websites for consulting firms.
Yeah, we really have.
From, laying out those services clearly to making those case studies that really grab people, building trust with those testimonials, showing off your awesome team. And making it easy for people to reach out.
Super easy.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
And we've also talked about those design principles that can really make or break your site.
Right. Like creating a smooth user experience and, using visuals to really guide the visitor's eye.
Yeah.
And reflecting your unique brand through all the design choices.
Plus, we talked about considering cultural differences and making sure that your website works for everybody.
Especially on mobile.
Especially in today's mobile world.
Yes.
But here's the thing. We don't want you to walk away feeling overwhelmed.
Definitely not.
The goal here is to give you some real actionable stuff.
Yes.
That you can actually use to improve your website.
Exactly. So let's cut through all the noise and get down to it.
All right, so think about this.
Okay.
If you could take just one action step today based on everything you've heard, what would it be? What one change could you make?
Yeah.
That would make the biggest impact on how people see your firm online.
So many things you could do. I mean, maybe it's looking at those service descriptions again.
Yeah.
And making sure that they're clear and concise and, compelling to someone who isn't in your industry.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know all the jargon.
Maybe it's gathering some client testimonials that really show off the results you've gotten.
Right.
Maybe it's even as simple as just checking your website on your phone.
Oh, yeah?
To see how it looks on a smaller screen.
You might be surprised.
You might be very surprised.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, take that step.
Yeah, don't let your website just be an afterthought.
It's working for you 24/7.
24/7 attracting those clients.
Make it a powerful tool that shows off all your expertise.
Yes.
But also builds trust, creates those connections, and ultimately helps your business really thrive.
That's what we want.
That's what we want.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of the world of knowledge.
Yeah.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.